Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Sunday, March 8th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith back in the saddle, ready to break down the Sunday NHL card. And this is a really good Sunday slate. We're excited about it. Happy Hockey Day in America to everyone south of the border. It is Hockey Day in America today in the United States. I know NBC really put on a big-time production on Hockey Day in America. It's a little bit tougher now because the national TV rights are split between multiple networks. But the two networks have come together to provide one hell of a day of NHL hockey nationally, as far as national games in the United States on television. We have a TNT doubleheader this afternoon, Minnesota, Colorado, followed by Boston, Pittsburgh, and then we have an ESPN doubleheader tonight, Detroit, New Jersey, followed by Edmonton, Vegas. So it's a one heck of a great day for national games, 4 games, 2 on each network. Afternoon double dip on TNT, night doubleheader on ESPN. So that's great to see. I guess if I want to quibble about it, if only they could have maybe flexed Detroit, New Jersey out of there and maybe gone to Tampa Bay, Buffalo, the showdown for first place in the Atlantic Division instead. But that's a minor quibble. But it's a great card. Like I said, very much looking forward to it here on this Sunday. Alex wasn't on yesterday. I did forget to bring it up, but now that Alex wasn't able to make it yesterday, and I'm glad that we saved this topic till today, and that is the passing of Troy Murray. It is absolutely brutal news. Beloved figure in the Chicago Blackhawks organization, the fans, a guy that had obviously a very lengthy playing career. We're talking about a guy that played with the Chicago Blackhawks in the 80s for the most part. You look at, he had, I think his best season offensively ended up being a 99-point season, 45, I see it right in front of me now, 45 goals, 54 assists in the 85-86 season, which would have been the first NHL season played start to finish with me on this planet, 85-86. So Troy Murray had his best offensive season there, but he was, he had about 3 or 4 years there where he was a consistent, 20-goal scorer, chipped in offensively for the Blackhawks in that role, played 2 years with the Winnipeg Jets after that, and then wound down his career with Ottawa, Pittsburgh, Colorado toward the end of his career. And then, of course, after playing hockey, transitioned, of course, into television, where I know I think it was 2002 or 3, he joined the television crew for the Chicago Blackhawks. He ended up working with Pat Foley for a bit, the great longtime voice of the team. Then Foley was let go, and the radio and television broadcasts were basically split up. Murray ended up going to the radio side of things with John Weideman, and Alex will tell you in a minute the great chemistry and the great camaraderie they had if you ever listen to Blackhawks games on radio. But there's not a person I've seen, in the recollection of Troy Murray saying a bad word about the guy. Everyone loved him. A great work he did. Great NHL career, great as a broadcaster, and absolutely will be missed. And I think we're all in the same camp where we can all say we're sick and damn tired of this disease taking people we love away from us. And again, it happened, unfortunately, over the last 48 hours with Troy Murray. Rest in peace to him, and condolences to him and his family and the entire Chicago Blackhawks organization. And Alex, I know you have a few words to speak on regarding Troy Murray.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was such a figurehead, amongst the Hawks organization, like I said, for throughout the entire time of my life watching them, like I said, as a commentator and an analyst. But the first time I actually got to watch Troy Murray was on TV as a little kid when he was playing his one and only season with the Chicago Wolves. He was actually the captain for the Wolves team in 96-97, played 81 games. And that was the first time I saw him, and they showed old clips of him playing with the Hawks during those times when they would talk about him. So that was kind of my introduction to Troy Murray. And of course, as I became more of a Hawks fan and got to see the clips of him, like you mentioned, that Selke award-winning season in 85.
That was the last season he played before he retired too with the Wolves.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The famous clip of him getting the steal and the overtime goal against the Toronto Maple Leafs at the old Chicago Stadium. That was a goal to help the Hawks get into the playoffs that year. And they ended up making a surprise run all the way to the conference final that 1989 postseason. You mentioned about you were born in '85 when you won the Selke. That summer was the timeline in which I was born, in which the Hawks made that improbable run all the way to that Western Conference final. And then you go on to hear him, like I said, when Hawks fans my age and older remember where all of our games weren't on TV. Most of our games you had to, all home games you had to listen to on radio. And like you said, Murray and Foley were part of that last group that had, TV and radio both simulcast over the years. So you got to hear those two gel well. But the camaraderie with Troy and John Weideman as things split from TV and radio was just absolutely fantastic. And, even though I know a lot of Hawks fans, especially nowadays, you watch the games on TV, but for some of us, especially me, moving away, not being able to catch every game on television or, being out and having other things to do, I listened to a lot of the games on radio during the 2010s, during the height of the Showtime dynasty. And those two were just absolutely fun. They, laughed and joked, just like, Eddie Olczyk and Pat Foley. They had the same kind of that friendship and camaraderie, and it made for some great calls and some great listens throughout the times. And I just know he was just so connected to everybody in the organization. He never looked down on anyone, players, other front office people, interns. I've heard nothing and read nothing but great stories all day yesterday. Shout out our guy Sammy P, who worked at WGN Radio during 2014, 2015, and got to know him. He posted a couple of great pictures online. Like I said, this was a quality man, a quality human being, and he will be missed by the city of Chicago, the Blackhawks organization, the hockey world, and certainly his friends and family. Rest in peace, Troy Murray.
Yeah, no question. Like I said, he will be missed, and like I said, beloved figure with the organization. But like I said, it's just cancer. We're sick of it. We hope that we continue to work to prevent, us from losing more people that we love to it moving forward. That's why you got to keep pouring in the money, and the manpower to try to find ways to fight cancer. The battle is relentless. The battle will never end. As far as Saturdays, we transition now back to the NHL. When you look at yesterday's NHL slate, it was a very entertaining card for the most part. Entertaining day. It started with Boston doing what Boston does, winning at home. I mean, that's just they become an automatic, almost an auto bet at any sort of reasonable price now when they play at TD Garden. 12th straight home win yesterday for the Boston Bruins as they beat Washington 3-1. Very solid, tidy effort. They deserved to win the game. They outplayed Washington for the majority of that game. Logan Thompson was great. He did everything he could to keep Washington in it, but definitely Boston controlled the flow, and they ended up getting the 3-1 win against Washington. I think the Rangers are an over team for the rest of as every reasonable opportunity the rest of the season. I mean, pond hockey has really taken hold with Rangers games, the last two that I've seen them play. That Toronto game, there was no defense. And obviously yesterday it was just up and down, not much checking, not much blocking of shots. The goaltenders pretty much exposed at both ends. And New Jersey getting a 6-3 victory over the New York Rangers, easily cashing the over for me in that game. What a day for Jack Hughes. A hat trick for Jack in the game. Yesterday actually ended up having 3 goals. Luke Hughes got a point as well, so a great day for the Hughes brothers and Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes has definitely gotten a little bit of an Olympic bump. He's absolutely played some pretty good hockey for the Devils too since winning that gold medal with Team USA and scoring the overtime winner in that tournament. So nice win there for New Jersey, back-to-back victories for them. Philly and Pittsburgh. I know it was Philly heavily trending under and Pittsburgh heavily trending under yesterday, but I was not shy about going against that, noting that Philly with 1 goal or less in their previous game, they've been trending over this year, 4 straight, now 5 straight games in Pittsburgh between the state rivals have gone over, and it also went over yesterday as Philly gets a 4-3 win over Pittsburgh yesterday. Big win for the Flyers there, tough loss for the Pittsburgh Penguins in that one, but we get the over, and we cash the draw in that Flyers and Penguins game.
Great call by you on that.
Yes.
I tailed you. I was listening into the show, and I tailed you on that one. That was not one that was on my card, but that was definitely a great call.
Awesome. Love to hear that. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I mean, I saw that there's been some overtime history between them, a lot of close games, and I said, I think it's going to be one of those again. And yeah, nice to hit the draw. Alex jumped on after hearing what I said, so that's great to hear that. Philly with a big 4-3 win against Pittsburgh there. Buffalo Sabres. This is why this team is different this year. They were terrible in the first period. They were awful. That's probably one of the worst periods I've seen them play during this 2-month run of excellence for them. Like they had 2 shots in the first period, two on home ice. Now they didn't give up a ton to Nashville either, but just they didn't get much of anything going. But it was still a bad period by their standards. Nashville gets the first goal, and then Buffalo responds. Tage Thompson's he's unstoppable right now. He's playing beast mode like Tage Thompson. Another goal to get them going yesterday and tie that game. And then, of course, they end up making it 2-1 with the Jason Zucker goal. Josh Doan early in the third period, a big goal to give them a cushion, and they hang on for a 3-2 win against Nashville yesterday. Not their A game, but that's why Buffalo's different. They can win without their A game right now, and they were able to do that yesterday. Alex Lyon made some big saves late, so Buffalo gets the win 3-2. We split with Buffalo there. We had the team total. That didn't win, but we did have them in regulation, and that did come through for us. Utah-Columbus, what a game this was. This was a candidate for game of the day. In terms of excitement, the crowd was going nuts. I've not heard Nationwide Arena that loud in a long time. It was a big game. Yeah. Both teams needed the points. There was a lot of animosity. You had a couple fights. You had some scrums during that game. That was playoff hockey, Utah and Columbus. And these are two teams not with a rivalry really of any sort, East versus West. And you wouldn't have known it watching it. They didn't like each other very much on that ice last night, and they played like it. It was play for keeps, and 2 big points on the line. And give Utah credit. This has been a hell of a road trip. 3rd straight road win. They beat Columbus 5-4. They break my heart because I had Columbus, but I'm not going to be too upset about it because we cashed the draw. This was a draw that was so obvious to me. 3 straight meetings had gone past regulation. Alex was on it as well. Mammoth and Jackets draw. We hit that one. So it kind of wipes away the disappointment of Columbus losing that game. But 5-4 Utah. It ended up being what a pass, by the way. What a play by Clayton Keller to set up Logan Cooley on that overtime winner. Got to draw the entire Jacket coverage to him, and he just slid it over to Logan Cooley, who had a wide open net. It was a great play. Great job by Columbus, though, down 4-2 to rescue it and get a point. Every point is huge. So even though Columbus loses, to get a point when they were down 4-2 in the third period at one point was massive. So that was a great hockey game. Utah gets the 5-4 win. Yeah, Alex, your thoughts on that?
That was the epitome of draw season right there. East versus West, 2 teams needing the points, 2 teams battling out. Like you said, late in that game when it seems like Utah is going to cruise, Columbus rallying around. Like I said, great home atmosphere. I watched a big majority of this game, and the crowd, like I said, they were in it the entire time, and Columbus fed off of that. Got the 2 goals they needed to tie the game, and you could see things settle out. As soon as they got that tying goal, things slowed down and kind of came to a halt because both teams knew they needed that point, and they got it in overtime, being Utah. Utah is going to be a dangerous team, and I've made note of this. We've talked about this all year long, going all the way back to when I hit that 60-1 on Dylan Gunther to score at overtime. This is a dangerous team in overtime. They're obviously dangerous, especially with the 3-on-3 setup, but they just have that resiliency in the extra frame to where if they make it to the playoffs, definitely look at overtime props involving whichever series Utah's in. Games to go to OT, guys to get goals to score in overtime. Maybe looking at, like you said, those top line guys, getting goals, getting points, things of that nature. That's something I would definitely be looking at if Utah makes it in the playoffs. Overtime props will definitely stick out because that's a dangerous team where if you're playing close, you go to the extra frame. They have the horses to beat you. They know how to. They the strategy there with Tourney is solid with overtime, even shootouts. I like the way he lines up his team with shootouts as well. So that's something I've made a note of throughout the season. Definitely want to keep that in play the last month of the year too, with a lot of games potentially going past regulation. Utah, the team you can make money on betting live or grabbing things pregame involving OT.
Yeah, Tourney's a good coach. I'm telling you, he is. I mean, but don't forget how just destitute Arizona was when they were still there. Obviously, they were the Coyotes still at the time when he took over. I like that they've had patience with him, right? And just after some bumps in the road, just can him and bring in someone else. They've let him, work through it, let the roster build a little bit, let the young players develop a little bit. And now you're seeing that, and Tourney was a great junior coach. That's why he got this job. And you're seeing he's a pretty good coach. And what he's done this year is pretty good.
And you're seeing what a difference the logistics make. When you don't have to worry about where you're playing, when you're playing in an arena that's of an adequate NHL size, when you have money where you can make moves and sign guys and make trades, it makes a world of difference. It makes his job a hell of a lot easier. And kudos to the Smith family for recognizing and understanding that, he went through a lot of tough ordeals that no NHL coach should have to go through during his initial time jumping into the league. So he had a learning curve unlike any other. And now we've seen, like I said, he's reaping the benefits, and this is a decent Utah team.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, more than this is a run now that's put them firmly in a playoff spot, and now they can dream about maybe moving up to a top 3 spot in their division. That's now possible now because of this little run they've put together. So great job there by Utah. Toronto, it was, great start. First goal, and I bet Michelli, and I just forgot to put it on the card. It's just, that's what it. I did bet Michelli. Someone was asking, did Ian forget to bet? No, I did bet it. I forgot to put it on the card. So people that are on the Dub Club and the people that are on the Patreon with the Ice Guys, they didn't see that. So I did bet it. I just forgot to put it on the card. But Michelli did score for Toronto. And then it was all downhill after that. I mean, Tampa, bang, 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 bang. I mean, with the 4 unanswered goals, and then they put it on cruise control. I thought Vasilevsky had a bounce-back game. Much needed. I thought he looked like Vasilevsky again last night. He played very. Toronto did have their chances, but Vasilevsky was very good. Big bounce back win for Tampa. They got a 5-2 victory there over Toronto. We cashed the over. That's 3-0 to the over in the DJ Smith era for the LA Kings. 3-0 to the over. 4-3 Montreal. I'm just saying, please, odds makers, please keep throwing the 5.5s out there for the LA Kings. Please keep doing that. And we'll keep trying to take advantage. That's a big-time win, too, for Montreal. Gutsy win. They didn't play great. They didn't really play that well, to be honest. They got heavily outshot, heavily outplayed. 39-23 were the shots for the Kings. But, it was great. Jakub Dobeš, absolutely tremendous. One of his better games of the season. LA had their chances, but Montreal with the 2 goals late. Slavkovsky, who had a great game. 2 goals. Suzuki got the game winner late. 2 goals and an assist, a 3-point night for Juraj Slavkovsky. So great job. Dobeš was excellent. And 4-3 for Montreal. We cash another over with the Kings. I feel bad for LA a little bit because 3 games with DJ Smith, they're 1-2. They've played well in every game. They're 1-2, and they've played well in every game. They played well against the Islanders, the one game they won. They played pretty well against a damn good Colorado team. And that game was tied late in the third. And then yesterday they should have beat Montreal, but the goalie was sensational. So if you're LA and you're looking at it, we could be 2-1 or 3-0, really, instead of 1-2 right now. But there's definitely been an uptick in energy, and they are way more fun to watch. I don't even care about wins and losses. LA, we've been accusing them of just being dull at times to watch. They're not dull these 3 games under the Smith. I mean, it's fire wagon up and down pace, and it's been pretty noticeable here in these 3 games since the coaching change. Islanders 2-1 in overtime. This was a big win. They don't want to end the California swing 0-3. But the Islanders get a nice 2-1 win against San Jose, beating the Sharks. Bo Horvat with the game winner in overtime. Sorokin was excellent. So was Askarov. He played pretty well also. Good goaltending battle, but Islanders get the win 2-1 and much needed to salvage 2 points on this California road trip of theirs. How about the big upset of the night? Calgary, 5-4 over Carolina. Carolina on a tough back-to-back spot. You look at this as a situation where, Carolina is expected to win that against a lowly Calgary team. But now I'm starting to get a little concerned about our guy, Brandon Bussey. Here's what I'm concerned about. There's now 3 straight starts, Alex, where he's given up at least 4 goals. 3 straight starts. He's played a lot of hockey. He's not used to playing this many games in a single season in the NHL. I think there's going to be more of a platoon back and now. The problem is the other guy is Freddie Anderson. And, he's had a rough season. This is the problem for Carolina. This is going to be the problem for Carolina come the spring and the Stanley Cup playoffs. Bussy has been giving you everything you could have asked for and then some, but he's getting worn down. He's playing a lot of games. He has not been sharp, not as sharp since the Olympic break. And like I said, this is concerning now, because Bussy's been a stabilizer for your goaltending. And if he starts showing cracks in the armor, and you got old man Anderson, who's had his worst season in years, who you can't trust, that's an issue. That's an issue for Carolina come playoff time. So, like I said, there's things to be concerned about in between the pipes. 5-4 win for Calgary. Give Calgary some credit, but like I said, it was a bit of a sloppy night for Carolina. Rod Brindamore not going to be thrilled. I know he wasn't thrilled because he said it after the game about the way they managed the puck. But Calgary with the 5-4. At the same time, they didn't manage the puck well, but at the same time, that was not a great game from Bussy either. So, there were a couple of those goals I would have wanted him to stop. And then Ottawa puts a beat down on Seattle, 7-4. Dylan Cousins scores again, so his goal-scoring streak continues, 36-21. This is the problem with Seattle. They have a game or two where they look good, and then they'll just give it right back. And they did that last night. I'm a little surprised they didn't pull the cord. Not that the goals were all Joey's fault, and Joey was magnificent when they beat Carolina, but at some point, I think once he gets to 7 goals against him, you take him out. But nevertheless, it was a nice win there for the Ottawa Senators. And Ottawa's right back in the playoff mix again. They're right there. I mean, they're not out of it, not by a long shot. Ottawa is still in the race for a wild card spot, and a big 2 points for them last night. Yes, Jake Sanderson, injured in that game, did not return. You're crossing your fingers if you're Ottawa that it's not long-term, his injury. Because that's a big piece in the blue line that would be missing. Alex, your thoughts on the rest of Saturday?
Yeah, no, like I said, a lot of interesting stuff. I was locked in mostly with that Utah-Columbus game late. Also was watching the high school hockey here. Of course, we had the state tournament. Dramatic double overtime win for Moorhead to beat Minnetonka, get their second straight AA championship. So congrats to them. That was a really exciting game, and a packed house over at Grand Casino Arena too. It's amazing how much the state loves their high school hockey. But like I said, it was a good night of NHL action. Draw season coming through in a big way, and there's a couple of spots I like here tonight as well. Games going possibly past regulation. So let's just get on with it.
No doubt. All right, let's get into this big hockey day in America, Sunday NHL slate, and we'll begin with a dandy. Absolutely great game to start the day. 2 p.m. Eastern, the first of the afternoon doubleheader on TNT. We've got Colorado minus 180, home favorites, 6.5 the total. I'm a little surprised they didn't rearrange the start times of these games. I thought Boston-Pittsburgh would be the early game, 2 p.m. Eastern. Minnesota-Colorado out west would be the 4:30 p.m. Eastern game. It's kind of weird that they actually put the game out west first, early. This is noon for the folks in Denver. Local time starts. So like I said, it's a little bit strange. The start time, 6.5 the total in this game. I got to admit, I don't feel great about this, but I still haven't lost 2 in a row with Minnesota overs, but I'm not feeling it as much today. I'm not, as far as this game goes. I'm going to bet it because I've been betting Minnesota over the total every freaking game for the last 2 months, it feels like, but I don't feel great about it. Like I said it, this overrun of theirs is slowing down. Like they've had a loss, they've had some pushes. The last couple games, there was an under against St. Louis. There was a push with Tampa, a push with Vegas. So you can see the run starting, and I'm only sprinkling pregame. I'm going to add more if it hits 5.5. That's my goal. I'm going to sprinkle a little on the 6.5 pregame and add more at 5.5 if it falls. That's my modus operandi here in this game. I'm tempted by Minnesota, but what's probably kind of keeping me off is the fact that these teams just played right after the Olympic break in Colorado, and Minnesota beat them 5-2. That's going to resonate with Colorado. They're not going to want Minnesota coming in here and beating them, twice, in a 2-week span. But like I said, it's definitely a Minnesota team I'm not laying a price like this against right now. No question. I mean, nice 4-2 win against Vegas on the heels of a 5-1 home win against Tampa Bay. So we'll see how this one plays out. I've got a pregame draw sprinkle here in this game. 2 of the last 4 meetings have gone past regulation. So that's where I'm at. It's a great game to watch. I do have a couple props I like. But for me, pregame, tiny bet on over 6.5. We'll add 5.5 live. And I like the draw a little bit pregame. And yes, the Sunday under trend is strong. I will admit that. That's why I'm also keeping it small. We know these Sunday games for whatever reason, these unders continue to hit for these 8 p.m. for these pre-8 p.m. Eastern games, especially. That's where it's 50, 20, and 3. Holy shit. 50 unders, 20 overs, 3 pushes. Unders in the NHL for Sunday before 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's pretty strong. And you factor in the loss of an hour for putting the clocks ahead for daylight savings time last night. So, yeah, I'm treading very light. Minnesota overs have been paying my rent, I guess you could say, for the last month or two, paying the property taxes. But at the same point in time, very, very cautiously with it today. Alex, great game, though. What do you think here? Minnesota, Colorado.
Yeah, great game to get the day started, since they get the hockey day in America started. But this is one where live betting will be your friend. There's no reason to grab a 6.5. There's no reason to grab a 6, in my opinion. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see this one go scoreless after 20 minutes. We hop in with what's been riding hot the second period overs, and then we can jump in and maybe grab even a 4.5 laying a price, or a 5.5 at plus money. So that's the way I have this circled. The only thing I have pregame is the draw. I grabbed the plus 335, which is still available at Bet Online. That's a great price for the two division foes that are kind of going neck and neck and have had some overtime history. So I have that pregame, the draw, but I'm looking for 5.5. I'm looking for a scoreless first period, try and get a 5.5 at plus money, and then jump in with that second period over, maybe second period, both teams to score.
All right, good stuff indeed. As far as props for this game, I'm just looking at the lineups right now. Come on, load already, goddammit. There we go. All right, Blackwood and Gustafsson are projected. Neither one confirmed. We've got Marcus Johansson, Marcus Foligno still out for Minnesota, and it looks like Arturi Lehkonen still out for Colorado, so that's the injury situation. Let me just take a look at the lineup situation here for these teams. Yeah, Nazem Kadri's good to go. Yep, he's going to make his Avs debut. Looks like Jared Bednar's decided to put him on the third line with Nicholas Waugh and Gavin Brindley. You know what's fascinating is Nicholas Waugh is a natural center who's playing wing right now for Colorado, and they've got that's the nice thing. People are saying, well, wait a minute, you brought in Nicholas Waugh, why are you adding now Nazem Kadri? I'm like, well, hold on now. It's never a bad idea to load up on as many players as possible that can play the center ice position.
Yep.
That's never a bad idea in my mind. Never.
And you know why you do that? Because you keep a team like Minnesota from adding a top 6 forward and centerman, which they've needed the whole year.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. What if one of your centers goes down? Nick Waugh can slide over and play your third line center. What if Kadri gets hurt? Waugh can slide over and play that spot if that were to happen. So it's, like I said, that's never a bad idea, to have a plethora of players that have the capability to play that center position. It's just so important to have strength down the middle, depth down the middle. So from that standpoint, like I said, I've got no problems, none, zero, with what Colorado did there, adding both of them. So I like it. And then you got Colton Nelson, Nichushkin, Gabe Land. I still like the value. Gabe Landeskog with McKinnon and Natchez on the top line. We did see a couple of instances where a player making his debut, with his new team scored. So I might sprinkle on Kadri here today for Colorado. I might. But look at Ryan Strome, new member of the Calgary Flames last night after the trade from Anaheim to Calgary, and he scores in his Calgary Flames debut last night. So it can happen. So, I'm interested there in a sprinkle here on Naz Kadri here. To find the back of the net for the Avs. And look, he knows this team well. He knows the coach well. He knows many of the players well. Natchez and Zuccarello, by the way, are on multi-game goal-scoring streaks entering this game. I'm going to get involved with Zook for Minnesota, plus 370. He scored in back-to-back games for them. So that's not a bad option as well. Keep that in mind. Bobby Brink looked pretty solid, and he's up there with Eric Sinek and Boldy on the second line. So I'm with Robert on that. I think Brink is worth a look. Back up the Brink truck. And put some money there on Bobby Brink here to find the back of the net here for Minnesota. All right, Boston-Pittsburgh, the second game of the TNT doubleheader and the second of the 4 games of the quadruple header, if you include the 2 ESPN games tonight. We've got Pittsburgh minus 125 home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. So this is Boston on the road, right? It's Boston on the road, yeah? Give me Pittsburgh. Seriously, it's that simple right now. This Boston team can't function on the road. How many times do we have to see that? No bet. shouldn't say no bet. I haven't decided if I'm going to bet Pittsburgh, but I can tell you right now, I can only look to Pittsburgh here. I'm out with Boston on the road. Done. Until I see the Boston Bruins, play a good road game, I ain't backing them. They're an ATM machine. They're a cash cow. They're unbeatable. They're unstoppable at TD Garden on home ice, and they can't get out of their own way most of the time lately on the road. It's that sharp, that strong a home road dichotomy for the Boston Bruins right now. So, I could only look Pittsburgh here in this game, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to get a lay of the land. Let's figure out who's in net. I would expect Korpisalo and Shelovs because Swayman started yesterday, and you saw Skinner start yesterday for Pittsburgh. Shelovs has actually outplayed Skinner lately. So I think you're getting the better goalie in better form right now for Pittsburgh if Artur Shelovs is in net. And I think you're probably getting the goalie in worse form for Boston because Korpisalo got lit up pretty good by Nashville in that road loss earlier this week. So, like I said, I could only look Pittsburgh here. Obviously, no Malkin still serving the suspension. Crosby still out. I get it. There's some injuries there. But you also have Pittsburgh off the loss to Philly, Boston off the feel-good win against Washington yesterday. I want the team off a loss usually on a back-to-back in that situation. So it's Pittsburgh or nothing for me. I don't know if I will bet it. No bet at the moment. Check the Patreon page. That's what I always say in these situations, and you'll see later on the Patreon page. And if you remember, if I'm going to be on Pittsburgh or not, but it's Penguins or nothing for this better. Alex, what do you think here, Boston, Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I'm going right back to the well with the draw here. I was on it the other day when that game in the 2-1 that it had the pace of a game that should have gone to overtime. Just couldn't finally get the scoring involved. Someone's talking about the under, maybe looking at tying Penguins with the under and getting a little bit of a parlay bump, playing plus 220 to get Penguins to win with under 6.5. I could see this one being kind of a low and slow battle. And like I said, no way you can back Boston on the road right now. So tying that in with Pittsburgh, I might take a little nibble at plus 220. Pittsburgh with the under 6.5 parlayed, but I'm going heavier with that draw price, plus 315 at BetOnline.
No doubt. I'm trying to see here. The one thing about Korpisalo, he's had some 4s and 5s lately as far as goals allowed, but he's also had a couple where he's given up 4 and then he's bounced back the next game and played a lot better. So he's kind of been one of these goalies where off a kind of a subpar game, and that was not great from him against Nashville, in that 6-3 loss, giving up 5 goals. He's capable of bouncing back. And I still think for Pittsburgh, offensively, they're going to cool off a little bit. You can't take out Crosby and Malkin and tell me that you're not affected a little bit negatively. And I think we're going to see that. By the way, if you like unders, how about 5 straight unders in the series? It's been a big-time under series, Bruins and Penguins. It was 2-1 Boston when they met just last week in Boston. It was 2-1 Boston. So it's actually revenge, too, for Pittsburgh because they lost 2-1 in Boston last week. And I was on Boston in that game. I remember that. I took Boston. But Boston was the best bet for me against Pittsburgh that night on the show. That's right. And then before that, there was a 1-0 Boston win, 4-1. Actually, Boston's owned this series, but no, not on the road. I'm not feeling it with the Bruins right now, the way they've played away from TD. So, like I said, lean Pittsburgh. I could see it being an under. I'll tell you that. 5 straight unders head-to-head with the Bruins and the Penguins, plus the Sunday under trend, as JD has pointed out. So those are, as far as props, I'd probably take it a little lightly here. I mean, there may not be as many goals in this game, but Husnadinov, got to keep Husnadinov, Middlestat, and Arvidsson are my goal prop candidates for Boston. For Pittsburgh, it would be Shinikov for sure. Maybe Brazeau, former Bruin. He looks like he's going to be on the second line today for Pittsburgh, so that could be an option as well. That's another pretty good hockey game, though. Looking forward to it. All right, Chicago and Dallas next up. This is a 6 p.m. Eastern start time in Dallas, so 5 p.m. local. Dallas minus 280, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. Chicago coming off a loss to Vancouver on Friday night by a score. I think that was 6-3. That game ended. Not pretty for Alex's favorite goaltender. I know he, by far, this is definitely his favorite goaltender of all time for the Chicago Blackhawks, Arvid Soderblom. Of course I'm being funny. Of course I'm being facetious. Everybody knows that. But I always like to get a reaction from Alex when I say that. But yeah, tough loss for Chicago, obviously, against Vancouver on Friday night. I don't think you're going to see Mr. Soderblom tonight. Actually, no, you probably will. I'm just looking at it now. Yeah, Spencer Knight, illness. Didn't
Right.
even go with the team to Dallas. So there we go. I'm just looking at it now. Yeah, it was an illness that kept him out of the Vancouver game. It's an illness that's keeping him out of this game. You mentioned it. With Dickinson gone, with Murphy gone, and Colton Doc,
Yep.
they have a faster lineup, speedier lineup, probably more of an offensive-minded lineup. I'm kind of thinking over now in this game, Chicago-Dallas, but the problem is the damn Sunday unders, and this is a before 8 p.m. game, so tread lightly. You got to tread lightly on these overs. You still have to handicap the game and the matchup, and you still have to, if you think an over makes sense, you can't completely not bet it, even though these Sunday unders have been strong. But you can at least tread cautiously and lower the amount you put on it. And that's basically what I'm going to be doing here. But it feels like an over matchup. It really does. Dallas is scoring in bunches right now. Like during this great run, which finally came to an end for Dallas, the double-digit game win streak ended with the loss to Colorado in the shootout. What a hockey game that was, by the way. Colorado-Dallas on Friday night. Great game. I wouldn't mind another playoff series. I know some people may be sick of Avs Stars, but if they're going to keep playing that kind of hockey head-to-head, sign me up. Give it to me one more time. Once is never enough. Captain and Tennille style. There you go. But yeah, as far as Chicago and Dallas here, like it's over by fact. I could only look that way. It feels like there's goals. Soderblom was not good against Vancouver. How's he going to handle a Dallas team pissed after losing to Colorado? They had a lead late. Colorado tied it in the last 30 seconds. And then, of course, Colorado wins in the shootout. So it feels like there's goals in this game. I know the Sunday unders have been very strong, but this does feel like a game where both teams find the back. I think Chicago can find the back of the net here, too, in this game. Ottinger should be in net for Dallas, but it hasn't been confirmed. And Rope Hintz is out for sure for this game, and it could be an extended period of time for him. Just so bloody unfortunate, right? He just comes back against Colorado, and then he got tied up with McKinnon there and ends up leaving the game, and they say he'll be out for a decent period of time once again. So I'm interested in first period full game over here, even with the Sunday unders being as strong as they've been. Alex, what do you think? Blackhawks Stars.
This game screams over. And if it's not Soderblom in net again, then it's going to be Drew Commesso who was called up. Drew Commesso, I don't know what to think of him at this point. Every appearance he's had in the NHL has been kind of rocky for the most part. And like you said, now that you have a faster Hawks team in front of him, you still have kind of a weaker blue line. And you've got a pissed off Dallas team. This just screams over. Like I said, at 5.5 minus 140. I'm seeing at FanDuel. So you could lay that. You could wait a few minutes and grab that live. I'm going to wait for the first period over because I'm seeing 130s, 135s. I don't think there's going to be a rush where we see a goal super quick in this game, but I do think we see goals overall. I have a bargain bin, one from each team in this contest as well. So I like goals in this.
All right, there we go. I agree. Jamie Benn, Wyatt Johnston. Back-to-back games with a goal for both of them for the Dallas Stars. This is a guy that's starting to percolate. He's getting in scrums. I saw him even get in a fight. He scored against Colorado the last game. Putting on the Ritz, our guy, Justin Ritskovian, starting to pick it up. Maverick Bork, someone mentioned Maverick Bork too, as far as Dallas goal prop. Yeah, I don't mind that either. He's still on the top line with Wyatt and Jason Robertson. So Ben, Johnston, Bork, Ritskovian here for the Dallas Stars. I think they're all worth a look as far as goal props. For Chicago, you look at their lineup right now. It's Green, Bedard, Burakovsky, Bertuzzi, Nazar, Teravainen, Mangiapane, of course, new member of the team, Moore, Mikheyev. Unbelievably great call by Alex with his bargain bin special, by the way, Friday night against Vancouver. Ryan Donato getting on the board for the Blackhawks in that game. So with Chicago, though, I mean, you look at I'm trying to see who's had some good success against Dallas head-to-head scoring. Well, Bedard leads the way as far as percentages. 57% of the time he scored against the Dallas Stars. Next in line is Bertuzzi with 38%, Teravainen 30%. So if you're looking for head-to-head success, those are the players that have had a good amount of success here against the Dallas Stars as far as putting the puck in the net. All right, next game. Now, this is, again, if you want to quibble, that's great to have 4 games, by the way, nationally televised. The only little thing you could complain about is that maybe ESPN, if they had a flex scheduling option, take Detroit, New Jersey out and replace it with this game right here. We got Tampa Bay and Buffalo. First place showdown. Now, Tampa Bay still does have 2 games in hand on Buffalo, but they're tied in points. for first in the Atlantic Division. What a matchup this should be. Tampa Bay minus 115 road favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. There's no chance I'm betting against Buffalo. I know it's revenge. I know Vasilevsky's pissed because Buffalo lit him up in Tampa what was last week. And Buffalo put the boots. That's the one thing that scares me, though, about taking Buffalo is Tampa's got this spot circled. The Buffalo went down there and just, took a big fat shit on their home ice. That's essentially what they did. Buffalo. It was just dominance, and it was very, very impressive. And this is just Buffalo. The value side is Buffalo here. They're rolling. They're at home. This building, by the way, is going to be on fire tonight at KeyBank Center. That crowd is going to be nuts. You got a first-place showdown here. Tampa coming in. They've been filling the building now for a solid month here in Buffalo since this, run really took shape. You got Tampa on a back-to-back situation as well. I think normally Johansson gets this kind of a game back-to-back after Vasi played the night before. I have a feeling Vasi's coming back and playing tonight. I just have that feeling. John Cooper is not going to not give his horse in net the chance to make amends for, a rough night for him and his team against Buffalo down in Tampa just a week ago. So my spidey sense is telling me Andre Vasilevsky's playing on the back-to-back here. It's not going to be Jonas Johansson. Now, we don't know that yet. Hasn't been confirmed. We'll know later. But I haven't bet anything until I know that. That's going to determine just what exactly I do with this game, although I can tell you right now. So check the Patreon page later for what I'm on officially on this game. But I can tell you right now, it won't be a Tampa bet, and it doesn't matter if it's Vasilevsky or it's Johansson. There's no chance I'm going against the Sabres team right now at this point in time. Actually, they're both on a back-to-back. I keep thinking Buffalo is arrested. But no, they played yesterday, too, against Nashville. But they played the earlier game with no travel. And Tampa Bay, now it's not much of a travel spot. Toronto to Buffalo is very quick. But nevertheless, they played the later game against the Leafs, and then they've still got to go to Buffalo. So it's still a much better spot scheduling-wise for the Sabres here in this game. It's Buffalo or pass for me. I can tell you that right now. I might sprinkle on the draw, though, too, here in this game. I could see maybe this one having some overtime potential, but lean draw, lean Buffalo at this point in time. Great game. Can't wait to watch it. Excited to see what the environment, the atmosphere is going to be like at KeyBank Center, knowing, hey, this is the team we're now in a battle with. Who would have thought just even a month ago, we got Tampa Bay and Buffalo battling now for first place in the Atlantic Division. Says all you need to know about just this incredible resurgence with the Buffalo Sabres, Alex.
Yeah, and if you're in Western New York, you're near KeyBank Arena, you take in a deep breath, and it's rarefied air. It's not the usual just, wing sauce and beef on weck. It's important hockey in the month of March. And
it's threw in the beef on weck. That's a great, I love that.
Yeah.
There's a great Hamilton bar I always go to, and they make unbelievably good beef on weck. Love it.
Yeah. I'm
drenched in all that gravy. Yeah,
I'm aware of all my food in different regions for sure. But yeah, it's important hockey and meaningful hockey in March and battling for first place. And like you said, it's gonna be a rocking home crowd. But being in that rarefied air, it can be tough. And Buffalo's not gonna win every game down the stretch. Give me Tampa Bay here at this cheap of a price with rapid revenge. If there's any team that's going to remember rapid revenge and put it to use, it's the Tampa Bay Lightning. And even if it is Jonas Johansson in net, who is a guy we really don't like putting a lot of money behind, but I just think this is a spot for Tampa. And I think this is a spot to show Buffalo, hey, you made long strides to get to this point, but we still run this Atlantic Division. We've still been the kings of this division for the last several years. You have to get by us. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And yes, they beat them earlier on this week, but to do this at home, Buffalo can get the win here. Now we're talking about, once again, like I've said this throughout this whole streak, going all the way back to the holidays. We said, okay, if they can win here, this is a legitimate streak. If they can win here, they're a legitimate playoff team. You win here in this spot at home and can take out Tampa, especially if it is Vasilevsky, who, like I said, he's a guy who doesn't like having bad starts. He comes back playing pissed off. You can beat Tampa Bay in this spot, a spot where they tend to excel. Now we're talking about Buffalo being legit in the East. This isn't just, this could be a one and done team. This could be a team that can make a deep run off of a win like this. So it's a big time game, but I'm going to side with Tampa just because I think, like I said, in that rarefied era of having big time important games, we've seen Tampa play way more of these spots than we have Buffalo. And I trust in them, like I said, in that rapid revenge spot.
Yeah, you could talk me into Tampa first goal, first period. Even though I could only look Buffalo full game, I could see Tampa scoring first. A real strong start after getting just dummied by this same team down in Tampa recently. I could absolutely see that. So if I were to look Tampa, I'd take more of the shot with the first goal, first period look. Yeah.
And a great point. If this is going to be a playoff type atmosphere, what's something we've always lauded Tampa Bay for throughout the years during the postseason? Taking the crowd out of the game early on the road.
Yeah.
So that would definitely want to be in line with that play.
Yeah, exactly. That is definitely something they're certainly going to be looking to do that. That is for sure. As far as taking the crowd out of it and try to get some early momentum, without a doubt, for to take away the opportunity for Buffalo to get that momentum behind them. There is a good point about see, I'm on the fence with the total here too. Like if it's Johansson, I'm betting over. Even with the Sunday unders, I'm betting over in this game. And even if it's Vasi, you can't deny it's been a strong overrun in this series. 4-1, 4-0-1 to the over in the last 5 meetings. The 4 overs had 11, 11, 7, and 8 as far as total goals in the game. So these games have trended more to the over lately. So I'm on the over for sure if Johansson's in. If Vasi's in, I'll give it some thought. And we'll decide.
If it's Johansson, I'm going to do the parlay of Tampa with over 4.5 and move that to plus 120.
Yeah, that's an option too. But nothing on the total as of now, and nothing on the side as of now. But like I said, a full game I could only back Buffalo. I kind of like, now that I'm thinking about it, that Tampa first goal, first period. I could see them because again, when you're on a back-to-back, and even with Tampa traveling, the Toronto to Buffalo travel is not a big deal, and I could see them having energy early. If their energy is going to dissipate, it'll be later in the game. And we did see Buffalo start slow yesterday. They had a terrible first period against Nashville yesterday. So that first goal, first period might be calling my name for Tampa Bay here in this one. As far as goal props in this game, you've got basically a bunch of players just on one-game goal streaks. But, I mean, you're talking about Alex Tuch, last 5 games, he scored 3 goals. Tage Thompson's been great, 6 games in the 6 of the last 10 games he scored. Hagel, 4 of the last 10. Zucker, has started to heat up a little bit as well. I'm still going to go back to the well one more time with Peyton Krebs. I mean, he's cooled off a little bit, but he's still on the top line for Buffalo. Josh Norris has been solid. You look at point streaks as well going into this game. 10-game point streak for Tage, 5-game point streak for Tuch, 3-game point streaks for Point and Gensel for the Lightning, 2-game point streaks for Doan and Norris for the Buffalo Sabres. So if you're involved and if you're interested in those point props here in this game, those are definitely some numbers to be aware of. All right, Detroit and New Jersey. This is the ESPN game, the third of the 4 national games today and the first of the ESPN Sunday night doubleheader. We've got Detroit and New Jersey. Had Bob Wischusen calling it again. Well, it makes sense, right? He called the game in New Jersey yesterday. Him and Weeks are also on the call for this game here, Red Wings and Devils. We've got minus 110 even money, 5.5 the total in this game. So this was on my Wizard Sports Picks Beyond the Lines video that I did for Sunday. I think it's a great situational bet spot and a great price too for Detroit, minus 110. And I know Dylan Larkin's out, the captain, and they'll miss him, and that's a big blow for the Detroit Red Wings. But I think they raise their game. This first game without him. They go on the road, business trip, 2 disappointing home losses this week against Florida and Vegas, back-to-back. Should have beat Vegas. You're up 3-1. You can't close. You sit back too much. You lose that game to Vegas. Florida, that was a weird game too because they had the big ceremony before the game. They brought out all these old Red Wings. Our boy Danny DeKaiser was part of the ceremony too before the pregame last night. He was there, but Chris Osgood, Lidstrom, all those old Red Wings, Abdelkader, you go on and on. They brought out all kinds of former Red Wings. They were doing something to honor the anniversary of the franchise. And it felt like a flat team at times after that during the game against Florida. I think they have a better performance in them here. They have the better of it from a schedule standpoint. Off since Friday. Devils are on a back-to-back. No travel for New Jersey, but they still had to play yesterday against the New York Rangers. Yeah, centennial year, 100th year. So they did a bunch of pregame shit for the for the ceremony there. So I like Detroit in this spot. They've actually been, decent on the road. This reminds me of the Nashville game, and Todd McClellan got after the team before the Nashville game, said we got to play better, and I thought they played a really good road game, beat Nashville, and he kind of got after them after the Florida loss Friday night, and now here they are on the road, getting obviously an opportunity to go on the road, and get the have a good solid road game, and the coach kind of getting after them again. Like I said, I think Detroit here -110. New Jersey's starting to pick it up. I will say that they're playing a little bit better, but I like Detroit in this spot -110. Alex, what do you think here? Red Wings, Devils.
I think things can get real rocky if Detroit doesn't get a win here.
It's big, man. If they lose this game, then it's starting to start elevating the concern
panic level.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So I like Detroit. I grabbed the -$1.05, but I like even more though is the team total. Flat 3 at even money +100 over at BetMGM.
Yeah, no doubt. And +2 with the New Jersey Devils. One thing, can we really go crazy about this win streak they're on? Leafs and Rangers, the last 2 wins. Can we really go crazy about that and get excited? I know they're playing a little bit better. They've won 4 in a row, but St. Louis, Toronto, and the Rangers were 3 of these wins. And then the Florida win. Florida's fallen, totally out of it. So, like I said, it's not New Jersey's feasted on the week to get these 4 wins. Like I said, I think Detroit's coming to play. We'll see if I'm right. But I like the Red Wings here. I'm not saying the Red Wings are a team I'm looking to back moving forward, but I like them in this situation here tonight in a spot where I think we see their A game. As far as goal props, I'm coming back to Emmett Finney, even though he didn't score that was so frustrating. And I know Jonathan was talking about it in our group chat during that Detroit-Florida game. He had a bunch of good looks, a bunch of great chances, and the puck just did not go in for Emmett Finney. I'm not getting off the train just yet. We're going to go back to the well with Emmett Finney. For the Detroit Red Wings to find the back of the net here. The price is still great, +600 to 700 in that range. DeBrincat's on a 3-game goal-scoring streak right now for Detroit. Dawson Mercer, we talked about him, finally scored yesterday on that top line. I might go back to the well with Mercer. Gritschik on the second line. There's a little value for the Devils as well with Brown and Hughes, that line. That's definitely something to look at. But for me on Detroit, Emmett Finney, we're going to go back to that well once again. For him to find the back of the net. Looks like Andrew Kopp might be with Kane and DeBrincat, so maybe Kopp is someone you could find that is able to find the back of the net here. It's been a little bit of a shifting going on with Todd McClellan on that top line, so there's probably a little value now with Kopp. And it looks like as far as the Red Wings too, let me just see here. What's interesting is, there we go. I think, there he is. Michael Brandsig-Nygaard is someone that was recently called up from the AHL due to the Larkin injury. He has 1 assist in 9 NHL games, but he's been great down there with Grand Rapids. 16 goals, 21 assists, 37 points in 50 games. He's a 19-year-old. He was drafted 15th overall in 2024. He's going to be in the lineup for Detroit, and it looks like he's going to be with Appleton and Compher on the third line. Michael Brandsig-Nygaard for the Detroit Red Wings. So I might do a little sprinkle there with you down. We have PLD, you down with No, you can't do it. MBN. What am I thinking? You can't do the song. You can't do Naughty by Nature with MBN. Doesn't have that ring to it. Never mind. Pretend I didn't say that just now. But Michael Brandsig-Nygaard, I will sprinkle on maybe a goal prop for him. All right, St. Louis, Anaheim. We got Anaheim -170, home favorites. The total here sitting at 6.5, shaded to the under. I don't know what to do here because Anaheim, I like this team quite a bit. But we got to acknowledge what the St. Louis Blues are doing right now. This is a team that even though they've traded some pieces, Justin Falk, Braden Shen, the captain, here they are, 3 straight wins, 4-1 since the Olympic break, playing good hockey. And Dylan Holloway, look at the difference he makes. He's healthy. He's been great. Robert Thomas wasn't traded. He's on a scoring. He's been a scoring machine here for the St. Louis Blues of late. This is a dangerous game for Anaheim. The St. Louis team is playing loose, playing confident. They got nothing to lose. They're not going anywhere. So, like I said, this Blues team is playing pretty. I actually think that it wouldn't be it's not the craziest idea in the world to take a shot with the dog here, quite honestly. That's the kind of game we're seeing out of the St. Louis Blues right now. Anaheim beat them in St. Louis back on December the 1st, 4-1. However, the Blues had won 9 straight versus Anaheim before that, and they have won 4 straight here at Honda Center, the St. Louis Blues over the Anaheim Ducks. Now, there's a much better Anaheim team, so you have to put a little asterisk beside it, but I don't know. I'm not I've seen enough good in St. Louis that I'm not ready to endorse Anaheim at a price like this against them. Anaheim 5-1 since the Olympic break, but boy, they've gotten away with some, falling behind in games. Like, they've given up the first goal in all but one game, since the Olympic break. And, I took the Montreal first goal, first period the other night. That was frustrating because Anaheim scored the first goal a minute in, and then Montreal scores right after that. Just missed it by that much. But, maybe St. Louis first goal, first period, possibly. And another thing, too, is St. Louis has been pretty solid at getting on the board first in some of these games lately. So maybe a look to that. I like the draw. I definitely like this draw, St. Louis and Anaheim. Anaheim, 3 of their last 5 have gone past regulation. St. Louis, San Jose, the Blues last game went to overtime. So I definitely think there's some overtime potential here. So the draw I definitely like pregame. This is one where I'm going to see if I can wait for a 5.5 before betting it over. I don't want St. Louis at the 6.5 right now because they are getting some solid goaltending right now from Hofer, who I presume is going to be in net tonight. At the moment, it looks like it is. We don't know yet. So to be determined. By the way, we don't know the goalies either for Detroit, New Jersey. We have John Gibson, Jake Allen projected. I would think it's going to be Allen for New Jersey because it's back-to-back. Markstrom played yesterday. But like I said, at this point in time, it's a draw look for me and maybe a live over. Alex, what do you think? St. Louis, Anaheim.
Just for the record, I don't see a goalie confirmed anywhere at goalie post, even for the Colorado Minnesota game, which is about to start in an hour. So that's just the way it goes on a Sunday. But I like this draw here. Plus 330 was the price that I got at Bet Online. He said St. Louis, they're playing tough. They're hanging on. And I think it's got to be refreshing for that locker room when you have a Robert Thomas sticking around. A Colton Parayko says, I'm not going to Buffalo. I'm going to stay here. That's got to feel good when you have other teams who are in losing predicaments who are having guys go away and, they're kind of seeing the writing on the wall, getting ready for summer vacation. So that may be a reason why we're seeing St. Louis playing a little bit more inspired hockey. But I like this draw plus 330. And also, it's just missing my bargain bin range, but certainly bargain bin price. Leo Carlson, first goal, plus 1,300. Took a little sprinkle with that as well.
There we go. Leo Carlson, first goal. I like it. Yeah, you got to bet Cutter Gauthier. Cutter Gauthier has scored 90% of Anaheim's goals, since the Olympic break. It sure feels that way. 4-game goal streak. Now, the prices are great, plus 150, but, you got to ride it at this point. Cutter Gauthier looking for his 5th straight game with a goal. He's scored, like I said, the lion's share of Anaheim's goals since the Olympic break. And you also have to take Robert Thomas again. Have to. 4 straight games with a goal. Shocking that there's still some books out there. And that's why, his name's going to be mentioned. I'll give it away. His name's going to be mentioned in the Bargain Bin Special of the Night segment from yours truly, Robert Thomas. Plus 310 is out there at a couple of books. It's insane. Not only we know when this guy's rolling, he's a good goal scorer, and he's scored in 4 straight games right now for this St. Louis Blues team. So, like I said, Robert Thomas been great. Dylan Holloway will go back to that well with him as well in this game. So there you go.
Thomas is a guy where if you see him in that price, you have to take some piece of him because once he scores at that price, the next time you see him, he's plus 265.
Yeah.
So you have to keep riding that.
Yeah, you do. And if he scores tonight, I'd be stunned if it's plus 300 or better next game for Robert Thomas to score. I think Snuggerud could be someone to consider too. He's had chances. He finally scored the other night for the Blues. So there's another goal prop that I would consider on their side of the equation. Gauthier's the main, focal point right now for the Anaheim Ducks. He's just been involved in so many. It's not even the worst idea in the world to go Gauthier over 1.5 goals right now with what he's been doing. It's just been a remarkable, just the goal onslaught from this guy since the Olympic break ended for the Anaheim Ducks. All right, our last game for this Sunday NHL slate, and it is the last of the national TV games today for Hockey Day in America, the second of the ESPN night doubleheader. Edmonton, Vegas. We've got even money, minus 110, both sides in this game. The total sitting at 6.5, shade now 6.5 over 140, 45 is what we're looking at here with this total. Look, what is it now? 12 straight games for Edmonton. 12 or 13 it is, 7 or more goals. So we're on over 6.5, obviously. That's a no-brainer. We're not splitting the atom, figuring out Ian Cameron likes the over in this game. But nevertheless, I'm only sprinkling pregame on it at minus 140. We're going to wait. We're going to see if we can get a better number during the game. What if we get a 4, 5, 6 minutes of scoreless hockey? We'll get something better. And hell, if we get even more than that, it might even fall to 5.5 at some point. So I'm definitely going to place a sizable bet if it gets down to that low, to 5.5. We played the clip yesterday. Go back to look on Saturday's show with me and Mikey. We played the clip of Chris Knobloch post game after the Carolina loss. Exasperated, didn't have any answers. He said, "I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't have the answer for you." And then they asked him another question about falling behind in games, and he's like stammering, it's just, he's exasperated. He's run out of answers. Like, what can I freaking do to fix the structure and fix this team defensively right now for the Edmonton Oilers? Now, I still believe, maybe Alex disagrees because he's not the biggest Connor Murphy fan, as defensively that is. But I still believe that once we get 3, 4, 5 games with Murphy, Colton Dock, Jason Dickinson, the trooper together for Edmonton, you will start to see at least some incremental improvement defensively from this team. But it's still going to take time. Like, they just got there. You could see, it's going to take time for that to develop. They just got there. They're trying to get familiar with their new teammates. It's not going to be an overnight fix and an overnight improvement defensively for the Edmonton Oilers. So we're just riding it at this point. Until this over 6.5 streak stops, we're on it every game right now for Edmonton. But we're going to add more to it pregame, or in-game, I should say. We're going to add more to it. We're going to bet it only small pregame and add more to it in-game, because I just don't. The price is a little rich here at minus 140 for this over 6.5. Same thing with, you can't touch the first period over. Hell no. You cannot touch this first period over pregame. It is priced.
You go 2.
Yeah, it's 2 at most spots. You're 100% right. It's 2 at many books. Over 2 plus 112, plus 120. The best over 1.5 I see right now is FanDuel minus 158. That is the absolute best price I see out there right now for over 1.5 first period. You could do both teams to score first period pregame. That makes sense. How many of these games, too, has Edmonton scored a first period goal, but they've given up one? It's happened a lot. Happened with Carolina. It happened with Ottawa the game before that. So I might do that, too. A little first period, both teams to score sprinkle, first period pregame. Alex, Edmonton, Vegas.
You could also use the first period over as a parlay piece to something else earlier in action, if you like, as well, too. That's an option when you start seeing that 150, 160, 170 range. But when you talk about Edmonton and the defense, and like you said, adding in Murphy and Dickinson and Doc, remember, this isn't Michael Handzus and Adam Burish and Brent Seabrook that were coming over from Chicago. So it's not going to just all of a sudden, the defensive issues are going to be fixed once they start working with Coffey. It's going to take some time, and I think we're still going to see goals here. The way I would play this would be, I do like a little piece of the draw, plus 315. It's not one of my favorites, but I like both teams to score 3 or more goals, plus 130 at BetMGM. I think that's the best way to pregame bet the over 6.5. Because I think this is going to be a back-and-forth game. I don't see Edmonton blowing out Vegas 5-1, 6-1. I don't see Vegas blowing out Edmonton this one. I think this is going to be a back-and-forth. Both teams have some question marks defensively and in goal. And so that's the way I'm playing it. Both teams to score at least 3 goals, plus 130 pregame, and then anything else I'll add in after.
All right, there you go. Good stuff from Alex there with this one. As far as props, Oilers and Golden Knights, obviously we're going to get involved with these. We do have 2-game goal streaks for Hyman for Edmonton, Marner for Vegas. Dorofeyev and Podkolzin both scored last game for their respective teams. Looks like, Podkolzin's with the Trooper and Kapanen on the third line. Roslovic, Savoy still with Draisaitl. The Savoy I like a little bit as far as from a value standpoint. For Vegas, like I said, you've got Marner on the 2-game goal streak. I'm not going to give up on Braden Bowman. Top line, he took a bad penalty, but he's still getting that opportunity. It looks like as long as he stays on the top line, there's good value. Braden Bowman with Jack Eichel and Ivan Barbashev on that top line for the Vegas Golden Knights. So I still think he's worth a goal prop if he stays up there at this point in time. As far as head-to-head numbers are concerned, Marner, 83% of games against Edmonton he scored. Draisaitl, 48% of games against Vegas he scored. Hyman, 43% of games against Vegas he scored. Remember I said Morgan Barron, take him to score against Tampa Bay because he just scores for Winnipeg against Tampa Bay? I'll throw one out there for you that's a down-the-board shot. Actually, a couple for Edmonton. Jake Wallman, and he's plus 800. He's actually scored in 30% of the time against Vegas, Jake Wallman, in his career. Colton Dach for Edmonton, one of the new Oilers, 25% of the time he scored against Edmonton. So if you buy into those head-to-head stats, Dach and Wallman for Edmonton, they've had some success finding the back of the net against the Golden Knights. So definitely something to keep in mind. All right, great stuff. Great card again. It's been some good card. Friday was a dynamite card. Just not so much betting, but from a viewing and a fan standpoint. Friday was a dynamite card. Saturday was a pretty good card, and this is a great card today too. The two TNT games are exceptional. The late ESPN game is very intriguing. Edmonton and Vegas. Yeah, Detroit, New Jersey's not the best, but New Jersey's playing a little bit better. People want to watch Jack Hughes right now because he scored the overtime game winner for Team USA. Detroit's bat, so that's still a decent game. And you got Buffalo, Tampa, the first place showdown. And I mean, it's just a great Sunday slate. Very much excited and looking forward to it. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button, wizardsportspicks.com. Check it out. The Beyond the Lines video that I do Fridays and Sundays. Check that out. #1 in NHL and college basketball. Gosh, college basketball has been great the last few days. We'll see if we can keep it rolling. wizardsportspicks.com. Check it out. Patreon.com/Ice Guys, $10 per month. Again, great time to get on board. We are closing in on 400 current paid members. We are getting close to that 400 mark. And I know we put the call out there to the Ice Guys family to make that happen. We're close. Yep. I think we're 388 last I checked.
Nice.
And we're getting close to that 400 paid members mark. That's 400 people that know what they're doing. That's the way I see it. 400 people they're screwed in. They know what the hell they're doing. That's what it says to me. That we've got almost 400 Patreon members. But we thank you for it. Again, you get goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting cards, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page, bonus content, plenty of more live betcasts that will be exclusive to Patreon members only later on this season. And of course, don't forget, there's also the special $50 off Dub Club offer I threw for me there just for Patreon members. So, because I know people were asking me because we posted the basketball bets throughout the Olympic break because there's no NHL action. So it's a way to, get involved with the basketball if you're interested. But make sure you get on board. Again, patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 per month. And like I said, a lot of the members are happy with getting on board. So again, $10 per month. Your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. $10 per month at patreon.com/Ice Guys.
And also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. You have until midnight Eastern tonight to save 25% off all of your items on your orders. Just hit the redeem button at the home page, add your items to your cart, and 25% will be taken off at checkout. It's springtime. It's a great time to get a couple new t-shirts, get yourself a hoodie, a cap, new coffee mug. We've got all of it right there. You can save 25% off until midnight Eastern tonight. That's over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
There you go. Midnight tonight is when that offer expires. So make sure you check it out at the Ice Guys store. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, bargain bin special of the night. I think it was a dry day yesterday. I think it was. But hey, it's going to happen. But it's still been a great post-Olympic break stretch for the bargain bin special of the night. We'll see if we can add to it here on this Sunday. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain bin special of the night.
I've got a pair from the same game. We got Chicago heading down to Big D, taking on the Stars. First, we will start with the home team. I like Mr. Maverick Bork to get on the board. You can still get him at anytime goal scorer, plus 330 over at FanDuel. It's a high price for a good price for a guy still skating on the first line. I think he should be getting some chances. So Maverick Bork, anytime goal scorer, is my first bargain bin special. My second bargain bin special for the visitors, Chicago Blackhawks. Talk about new faces and new places. I'm going to go with Andrew Mangiapane on that third line to get his first goal as a member of the Hawks. You get plus 700 at DraftKings. So Andrew Mangiapane would be my second bargain bin special, plus 700 for Chicago. That's for Sunday night.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. There you go. All right, bargain bin specials right there. Two of them for Alex on this Sunday slate. Bargain bin special of the night for me. I'm going to go to two of them as well, and they're both going to be the late games, the latest games on the board. 9 p.m. Eastern, St. Louis, Anaheim, and I already mentioned it. Robert Thomas, St. Louis, plus 310. You got to bet it at that price. 4 straight games with a goal, bargain bin material for sure. Robert Thomas, St. Louis, plus 310 for my first bargain bin special of the night. My second one, I know you took a chance on him. I'm going to take a chance on him tonight in that Edmonton-Vegas game. Braden Bowman on the top line for the Vegas Golden Knights, plus 320, the best price for him to find the back of the net. So there you go. 2 late bargain bin specials. We got Robert Thomas, St. Louis, plus 310. Braden Bowman, Vegas, plus 320 for my bargain bin specials of the night. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Get a little creative with this best bet today. We don't like Boston on the road, so we're leaning toward Pittsburgh. But we also believe it's going to be a low and slow game because that's how it's been for these Sunday afternoon affairs this season. So give me the Pittsburgh Penguins money line, tied with under 7.5. You can parlay that at FanDuel, plus 121. That would be my best bet. Penguins with the under 7.5 is my best bet.
All right, good stuff indeed. All right, my best bet. I'm going to go with my video play from Beyond the Lines on the Wizards site. I like this spot for Detroit. I do. And if they don't win this, I expect full focus. This is a team you got to beat. They played yesterday. I know they've won a few in a row, but it's all been against cupcakes and Sisters of the Poor. You got to get this one if you're the Detroit Red Wings. This could spiral on you if you don't get the job done here tonight. And I expect a collective step up, pull up the bootstraps effort from the Detroit Red Wings tonight without their captain, Dylan Larkin, and I'm going to back them to get the job done. They played very well in their last road game against Nashville, and I think they'll get it done here tonight as well. Minus 105, Detroit Red Wings for me against New Jersey for my best bet. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And again, looking forward to this Sunday NHL slate. Like I said, lots going on of college basketball, but we'll be here for you every day. Of course, as always, throughout the month of March with your NHL coverage for you right here on the Ice Guys. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast if you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the games and good luck. What a day of hockey it is. And we'll be back with you tomorrow on Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern for another edition of the Ice Guys.